Very good evening to everybody and welcome to this next in our Music Revival online live stream series. This is Christopher Dygan coming to you from my home on Saturday, the 29th of January. This is our live stream number 193. And this evening, I'm playing a very calm introduction, trying to focus. I've got a very challenging, very exciting, I think this might be the most exciting, possibly the most challenging program that I've presented on these live streams yet, almost 200 now. And trying to keep my calm and focus. And Lucy's already here demanding my attention. Lucy, I'm going to chat to you later on. So I hope you can join us for the next hour or so. I'm going to be playing a selection of music by the composer Frédéric Chopin. And principally, in the bulk, this is his 4 scherzos or 4 scherzi. They are very dramatic, very compelling pieces of music. I enjoy playing them. They're a great challenge. They're very exciting music. And I've been working very hard on this for the last couple of weeks to bring this performance to you. And I hope you are going to enjoy it. First of all, once again, of course, just a reminder, if you are watching, especially are watching regularly, I see all the comments coming through on Facebook. I'm very grateful for that. The comments on YouTube and the emails. I'm very grateful for the response and for the recognition and the terms of how people are enjoying these programs. However, I am relying on you to contribute financially to keep this program going and to also earn a living during these very contradictory times and very difficult circumstances where live performances are very limited, and where they are possible, they are not very popular at all for understandable reasons. So the four Scherzi, these are four pieces of music that Chopin wrote at various points in his life over a period of 10 years. Conveniently, Chopin, like the ballades, wrote 4 of these. It's a very neat, compact set. They're very different pieces, they're very individual pieces. I'm not sure if he really intended them to be performed together. Very few pianists do, but I think it's a great challenge and a very exciting view and impactful insight into the composer and one particular style of music. So you can see how the scherzo format really fits together in the composer's mind. In the original sense, the term scherzo means joke, and it really comes to fruition in the sonatas of Beethoven, for instance. If he composes a 4-movement sonata, often in the 3rd movement, Beethoven would usually have a minuet, a very light, elegant dance, and in later years, he replaced this minuet with a scherzo. Similar to a minuet, there's a triple meter, there's a sense of the dance, but there's a lot more bite and a lot more edge and a joking nature. As I say, scherzo meaning joke. As a colleague of mine says very cleverly, that these pieces, scherzo means joke, but playing the scherzo is no joke at all. They are very, very challenging pieces. Chopin only wrote 4 of these pieces. He wrote a scherzo in his 2nd piano sonata, as Beethoven would have, but he doesn't write anything more, and no other composer writes scherzos. So why Chopin calls these pieces scherzos, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was trying to write a piece of music that contrasted the ballades, for instance, which are very gentle on the whole, and rhapsodic, not gentle, but they often have very gentle beginnings. They tell stories of great rhapsody, whereas the scherzos are very direct. They all start with great drama, impact from the moment go. They are rhythmically driven. In the center of each piece, the design of them is much more forthright and much more direct. Each of these scherzos has a very contrasting midsection. And what's interesting is that each of these midsections really often are inspired by elements of the hymn. And it's almost as though Chopin is pointing out some of the disturbance, the terror, the fear in his own life in a very direct way, and then seeking solace in this very hymn-like character, which is very subdued and much more delicate before the opening terror returns. And the only real autobiographical hint or element that we have that is associated with these pieces is, in fact, with the scherzo, the first scherzo, number 1. Chopin wrote this, he talked about it when he was visiting Vienna for the first time. This was now on his first excursion, his first trip as a young pianist, trying to establish himself in Europe, having been feted, celebrated in Warsaw and Poland. He was now trying to extend his career in the great cities of Europe, found himself in Vienna on the very first trip, and found himself in the St. Stephen's Cathedral, where Mozart had composed and played many times. He found himself there on Christmas Eve. He wrote to his family and he said, "I was the only person in this building. It was cavernous. It was all this grey stone. The wind was howling. It was snowing. I was all alone. He's in a strange country, probably not speaking the language particularly well." And he said he was aware of death all around him, the graves beneath his feet. And so in the beginning of this piece, there is this sense of turbulence and terror. It's a very impactful start right from the moment go. But in the middle of it, he quotes a Polish Christmas lullaby. And that's a very telling sign, because it's almost as though, again, he's recollecting something of his past. He's recollecting a memory to bring him out, to soothe himself and take himself away from this incredible terror and excitement that he is feeling, and the fear that he is feeling at that moment. I'm feeling a bit of the fear myself with these 4 pieces looming in front of me. So I am going to play them. I had considered playing them, and I have done occasionally played them as they were composed from number 1 to 4. But the third scherzo has got such a particularly dramatic and final ending that it's very difficult to actually play anything after that. So I'm going to play them in the order of 1, 2, 4, and end with number 3. It seems to make a bit more compelling sense, because the 4th scherzo, which you'll hear in the 3rd of the 4, the 4th scherzo is somewhat of a lighter, more effusive, more ethereal affair, and somewhat enigmatic, and not always the best piece to end with. I'm also going to start the program with the waltz in A flat, opus 34. I need just a moment to get into the performance mode from the talking and to get my fingers moving. So I'm going to start off with the waltz, and then I'm going to play right through these pieces. We'll see you, it will take up the whole program. We'll see you at the end of that for the four Scherzos or Scherzi by Frédéric Chopin. Well, that brings us to 7 o'clock. I said I'd see you on the other side. And here we are, 3 minutes to 7. That is our session for this evening. That was the 4 Scherzos, or the 4 Scherzi, by Friedrich Chopin. Of course, if you joined us late, this program is available on our YouTube, my YouTube channel, as well as Facebook, as well as my website, musicrevival.co.za. I started the 4 Scherzi with a little waltz in A flat major, opus 34, and the Scherzi I played in the order of 1, 2, 4, and 3, ending off there with a very brilliant Scherzo number 3 by Friedrich Chopin. All music by Friedrich Chopin. And here's little Lucy's desperate to come up and say something. Little Lucy, yes. Oh, that was yes, I know it was a very long program. And you've been hearing it a lot. Yes, I know. I have been practicing. You want me to play something else. You would like me to play something else, maybe. Yes, I know. Elixir music. Yes, Little Luce. I know that you're there. And Little Luce, what inspiration? What should we have next? I'm going to have to have a little private chat and see what we can have in our next program. So that brings us to the end of this evening's session. Thank you, Barry, for the technical support. Thank you, everyone who's watching and keeping up with our program. Very dramatic music. It's difficult not to really get involved and play the piano. I know it's a recording, or that the microphones are very close by. Even Frieda's here, and Frieda often disappears as soon as there's very dramatic, loud music. Frieda doesn't hang around. Here, Frieds. Yes, oh, you're still here. You survived. Yeah, Frieda survived all the loud, high-pitched noises. It's not your best, I know that. Frieds, are you doing okay? Yes, everything's fine. So thank you for joining us tonight. I've got a very interesting program in our next session, which is on Wednesday. Of course, this is the February program, our new selection of music and plans of what I'll be producing. We'll be going out shortly. I still haven't made a decision as to whether I'll be moving to 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock for the live events. And that decision it's very likely, the response and the survey that I put out certainly had that more than half of those watching would actually find it easier at 7 o'clock, especially in the summer months. So in fact, we'd be starting exactly now. It's 18:59. We'd be starting at 1900 hours in the future. I think that is what will happen. We just need to confirm 1 or 2 details, and we'll let you know. So if you're not on our mailing list already, please visit my musicrevival.co.za website, or keep track of my Facebook pages, and I will let you know as soon as I can. Thank you for everyone for joining us tonight, and Barry again. And big program, big demand, but it went off. I made it to the end without any major calamities, and look forward to seeing you next week or on Wednesday.